Hey everyone, it's Tdawg here with Tdawg Training. Thanks for making me part of your day. I really appreciate the support. In today's video, we're going to do a tutorial and setup and configuration of DOS Trader Pro, one of the most powerful trading platforms out there. We're going to do an account setup and layout configuration. We're going to set up the montage and the layout within the montage. We're going to configure the time and sales. We're going to configure the charts, and we're going to work through and setting up hotkeys. So let's jump on into it and let's go. Okay everyone, welcome to my DOS Trader Pro setup and tutorial. Thanks for joining, I appreciate it. Today we're going to walk through really kind of going through the basic setup, the key settings, the account window, the positions window. We're going to kind of walk through the active orders window and how to set that up, how to be able to pull up your order history so that you can have that available for handy, because DOS Trader allows you to have multiple windows like that. Also going to kind of walk you through setting up the level 2 montage, talk a little bit about the style layout. I think that's important. I think some people don't recognize the fact that you can change that style layout, and there are definitely some functions within that allows you to expand on what it is that you're looking at. So definitely like that. Obviously, the level 1 information, we're going to kind of walk through time and sales, configuring hotkeys, and we'll do some configuration of the charts to kind of be able to kind of get you going on the charts. So anyway, thanks for joining, and then let's get into let's get into it. All right, so this is the main screen. This is what it looks like when you log in, the default screen for for DOS Trader. So this is kind of the basic setup, what you can do to get it configured, and so what I like to do, again, I've done this on other platform tutorials. I'm the type that, with the exception of the account information and some of the basic information, I like to kind of get rid of everything and start and build from scratch. And so that's what we're going to kind of do here. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the market view. Let's get rid of the top list. Let's get rid of this time and sales, this montage, this chart, and this kind of breaking news here. And so now we're kind of left with, kind of the basic setup. And so let me get it moved so that we can utilize more of the screen. Okay, so this is, now I'm kind of utilizing the full capacity of, of my screen here. One thing that, I didn't delete this here. I wanted to use this as the example to be able to kind of show you. If I right click this, as you can see here, this option brings kind of your frame window configure. This is where you can identify, do you want it to have a title bar or not? So if I uncheck that and click commit, now all of a sudden this has a title bar here. You see how it's got the X and the maximize and the minimize. When you right click, it gives you the option to put the no title bar. That allows you to make it a little cleaner look, right? Once you get everything in place, it kind of allows you to have a cleaner look. Right now, I'm going to just be doing this demonstration on a single screen. But one of the things that I also, while I have the frame window configure up, is to realize the fact that you can use the pop-out feature. So by clicking pop-out, and I'm going to go ahead and take the title bar off too, this is now popped out. So if I wanted to remove this from this master window, so this is the master, you see how you can't see it now? So I'm going to kind of click on here. I can move this out of this window bar, where everything else as of right now is kind of secluded. But this allows you, if I was going to move this, like I just moved that to another screen, this allows you to have a multi-monitor setup. So it's just as quickly as getting it back in, and now it's in there, and now it can't be removed. So you just pop out. That makes it really easy and quick to be able to move to a multi. I typically, in fact, the things that I have left here are the only things that I typically leave in the main desktop area. I usually will configure this so that everything else is left outside of the screen. This is something that I do not need, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's get this back to full screen. All right, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and add the title bar here. So this is your current, this is active orders, right? So, that's something that's kind of set up so that you can kind of see, if you have any orders that are currently pending, it'll have a little X there to the left that you're able to kind of look. I always kind of keep that really close to where my current positions are. So right now I'm just kind of setting that up so that I can kind of see that. So this is kind of the basics. So one of the other things that I will go in and do is I'll want to be able to kind of see the information about the orders, anything that I've already done, so that I can keep. So I do like to kind of keep my trades, um, up, so that I can kind of see anything that's happened from an active. So far I can kind of see all the different trades. I can see what my fills were, and that type of information. So that's something that I like to kind of keep handy. I don't always necessarily keep it active, but it's definitely something that I find valuable. One thing that also, before I kind of get too far into it, I think it's also good to understand, and basically in the other configuration screen, this is where you can kind of change your theme. So there is the DOS default theme, which I don't typically use. Um, but I definitely, some people might like that. I mean, I'm a dark. I prefer it to be of dark setup. Um, there is a blue one, but in fact, I can go ahead and show that really quick. Maybe this kind of reminds me when I used Fidelity. Uh, but anyway, I just think that this is something. I mean, I prefer the dark. It's what I'm used to, and it's definitely something. It's what I prefer. There's not a whole lot of elements that I would typically kind of walk through here. I mean, that's really kind of to me, the big one when it comes to the other configurations group. Okay, so this is obviously your account information, tells you, which how much you've had realized for the day or unrealized for the day, what's your current equity, your buying power, your overnight buying power. It'll show you the number of tickets that you've done. Um, this right here is essentially your open positions. So if you have a position open currently, this is where that would be shown. This is your open positions window, and this, like I said, this is your current orders window. And this right here is basically your order history. These are the trades, or what you ended up going through. Again, like I said, I like keeping this out. In fact, I would typically do it just like this. I just really need I want to see the time, the symbol, the side, the price, and the quantity of what I ended up having set up. So again, this is the basic information, um, but I think it's what I need, typically to be successful. All right, so let's jump in there and let's bring up the montage. That's what everybody likes. So this is the montage. Let's put in meta. This is your level 1 screen. Up here it shows the view app. Now you can change. One of the things that I like doing right here is I always, anytime I'm looking at a chart, I always have VWAP on there. But this has the capability of, so you can identify what the current you can have handy what the current halt levels are. So I usually set this to LULD. You can kind of configure it total trades today. You can really kind of configure it to whatever you want, but I just find the LDLU to be the most advantageous. One thing that I want to bring up, if you go into the kind of this, you see how I got my arrow in the fringe. If you right click in here, there's some options. You can do route config, order template, trade settings, and style. Now, the style, this is the one thing I think is critically important that a lot of people don't fully understand is that is that by changing this style, it changes some of the functionality. So if I click over here to basic, it adjusts, what the basic elements are here. There are a number of styles. There's a number of ways for you to have this look. It adjusts all of these entry options here at the bottom. And the one that I find the most effective, at least for, for my primary level 2 screens, is I use the stop order one. And let me click on that and let me show you what that looks like. So this is the stop order layout. I'm not 100% sure why I like it more, but when I'm setting my stops, or if I'm setting a stop and allowing me to choose the type, either market limit, trailing, or range, I just find the flexibility here better. I just like having it, set up this way. All right, so next, the route config, not really anything to kind of adjust here. These are the different options that, you can make available as far as routing. This is going to be very broker specific. As you can kind of see here, I have access to do a smart limit order, a smart market order, a smart stop order, and then I have the capability of doing limit and market orders on all three, on ARCA, NASDAQ, and New York Stock Exchange with my current broker. So that's, those are very specific, that you can kind of set up on the route config. The other element is your kind of order template. This is your defaults. This allows you to select, what's the default for the trade window. You can kind of select, which one that you prefer. I do prefer the NASDAQ, share size if you wanted to make this 100. If you wanted to start off, limit, and you can apply this. You can apply this to all exchanges and then click apply, and that, will be able to set up your default trading window. Let's see, trade settings. All right, so this is, this is pretty much, there's a lot of good information here. This allows you to, I'm not sure that will change much, but this allows you to, to kind of set, some of the default kind of elements. Okay, so one more key element that I want to bring to the table, and that is the layout config. Um, this is the default. I'm actually not a fan of the default, and when it comes to default, I actually like my trade information up top. I like my level 2 next, and my level 1 after my level 2. So that is the way, so it's essentially going to take this information and put it up here. It's going to then have my level 2 information, and it's going to take this level 2 information and bring it down to the bottom. So this is how it looks after it's changed. So now I have my order entry information sitting here above my level 2. And that's just the way that's just the way that I prefer it, actually. Um, it's something that I've gotten used to on a few other platforms. And so here's our montage. I'll always have 4 of these, and so I always have four montages in play when I'm setting up my DOS trader. I'm gonna go ahead now and let's do quotes, time and sales. So here is time and sales. So in most cases, if I'm going to have level 2, I want to have time and sales information. And one of the things that I want to point out is how do I combine this montage screen with this time and sales, and that is right here. This is basically the connector. So this is the if I take this and I drag this over, this is now Tesla. So that's how you, if I want to throw up a chart, quick, again, I'm not really going to kind of get into charts just yet, but just want to show you how quick it is to link. So this is now Tesla, right? So we'll get into charts in a minute, but I just wanted to reference how quick and easy it is to be able to link and kind of set up. So now this is my time and sales, and so I obviously have the capability of configuring, my time and sales. I can adjust the colors accordingly for, so again, you can adjust, the color configuration for how this is for how these are set up. Um, and I definitely, I like obviously having the flexibility to be able to do that. You could set it up to where if you wanted to have the shares be, divided by 100. I'm not a fan of that. I like seeing the actual shares. So that's just something that I'm pretty accustomed to. So anyway, it's really easy to be able to set up the time and cells and be able to configure it with your um, you know with your with your montage screen. Okay, for simplicity for this video and getting you set up, I'm gonna go with a two montage setup, and so now let's start adding charts. Let's talk through the charts process. All right, so this is a chart. Let's get it set up on the SPY. So I'm going to drag this over here. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and configure. Let's go ahead and configure this chart the way that we want. Okay, so the first thing is that I do not like, so it's kind of already set up to where it doesn't have the horizontal grid lines or the vertical grid lines. If you're someone who likes to have those grid lines, and you prefer that there, then obviously that's a personal decision, but I'm just not a fan, so I keep those off. I don't use the day separator line. I don't use the market open line or the market close line. If I am going to have any lines, I'm going to do that. I will show the difference in the pre and post market, and I usually use something like kind of like a gray or kind of a silver to kind of do that. I have the transparency pretty high. I do like having the font name kind of set up. I like to have it at the top. This is where you're going to be able to identify the position. I'll use white so that you can kind of see it on my black background. I'll go ahead and make it 12. There we go. So this is what the symbol is going to look like on the chart. So if I click OK, you're going to see the SPY 1 minute. So in fact, I like to get it a little bit bigger. All right, so not a big fan of this green. I like to make that white. I think it looks better on the black background. I like the 2 decimal points. I'm okay with the axis line color being thing. I do like the footer text. I like to make it a little more stand out. It stands out a little bit better if we put it on a white background. I like having the footer down there. I do like my zoom speed to be fairly fast. I don't fix location. I don't I don't need the tool tips. I do like I have a little bit of a y-axis margin, so I put that 30, I make it fixed. The top margin, I like to give myself about 10%. Crosshair line style, I do like it to have it solid. I'll use the width of 2. I like to draw the crosshairs when the mouse is kind of moving. I do like to save trend lines when I put them out there. Double click to trade. Every now and then there are some hotkeys that I set up that require double click to trade in there, so I'm good with that. I like to display trend line information, and I do like to enable vertical dragging. So that's kind of the settings that I kind of go with on my main chart. Okay, so the next thing after I've done the main config, I like to go to the chart area config area. So that is this right here. As you notice, if you remember the ruler at the bottom, I hate the ruler. I don't need to know the study info. I do like to see the previous close line here. Let's see, I like to show my trades. I like to show my orders. I like to have the triangle size pretty good size. Um, let's see. Yes, I like to show the order triangles. I think everything else default is fine. So if I click that, see that's a lot cleaner. I do not like the ruler, and you'll have to do the same thing with your volume. Let's remove the ruler. First thing that I notice, you see that the blue, I like to have mine match. So that's essentially the study. So if you have to config the study, you can kind of set it up. Get rid of the border, no border. And now it'll look accordingly. Obviously, you can go with this 1 minute. You can do a 2-minute time frames. 60 minutes, day, week. As you can see here, the segmenting of the pre and post, the post shift, that's pretty important. Again, adding, if I wanted to, add moving averages. So this is I can add my exponential 9. It's a good color. I like that. I can add another one. Let's make that the 20. To make that more of a purple. And then we can add, where's VWAP? VWAP. I think it has its own. There it is. Yes. And it's already my right color. I like to make it a little thicker. And voila. So now we have, just so you know, you can kind of see I had to zoom out to get to the VWAP. It really took a dive. I actually took a trade, options trade, took 395 puts, sold about 393. I didn't get that low. I got little about 393.80. Anyway, but that's how you can kind of set up your charts accordingly. If I was making trades, I could see the trades in that particular time frame. But anyway, it's really at the end of the day, the charts they're definitely good and can be configured accordingly. Um, it's just I think some of the key things: taking the ruler out, getting rid of the grid lines, making sure that you have the right volume profile. You can add, obviously, there's all kinds of things. You can add your MACD, uh, and your RSI, whatever elements that you want, setting up trend lines, um, accordingly. You can display um, display the trend lines accordingly. So it's definitely, I am a multi chart. I usually trade with the 1, the 5, the 30, and the daily up anytime that I'm configured. So I would set up likely 4 charts, to be able to align, for that. So, I think that's pretty. All right. So next up is hotkeys, ever popular hotkeys. So, let's, this is the hotkey main menu. This represents all the hotkeys that I have set up on this particular platform. I'm going to go ahead and click add. I think the easiest way to set these up is to use the order script builder. So let's say we want to buy, 1,000 shares. And let's say I want to put that on shift 1. All right, we'll say control F1. And so that's a buy. We want to do 1,000 shares. The symbol you leave blank because since you're going to be using a hotkey, you're going to have this on your active window. So you don't have to do that. The price, let's say you want to do ask plus and we want to do, let's see, 2 cents. The account, same thing. If you have multiple accounts, you want to, whatever you have your default, account set up, that's where, that's where you're going to, that's where you're going to do that. You might want to default to route. I typically would default to NASDAQ. The value proposition with defaulting to NASDAQ for routing when you're doing this is in my broker with CMAG, ARCA doesn't allow. I can't do after hours fills for cells on on this broker. So NASDAQ has unilaterally always been accepted. So I use day plus in this particular situation. So I don't really worry about when I'm using this broker. Load and send mode, load and send. If I were to just click load, it would just load the order, and I would have to manually click the button. If I'm going to use a hotkey, I might as well do it. Any is what I don't really know exactly what happens. I think there's some other scenarios if you're using APIs and so forth, but any is the default. If I click build script, it's going to automatically create it here. Now, if I know I'm going to do a lot of these, I can copy and paste this, right? I can copy and paste this, and I can go ahead and commit to this one, right? And then when I go to add a new one, if I want to buy 2,000 shares, I can control F2, and then I can just copy and paste that script and then just go in here and change the share value. And now I've very quickly added the second, I've added the second one, and I can do the same thing again. I can do this, and I can change this 1,000 to 3,000 by 3,000 shares. So that's a good flexibility that you have, with this application, right? All right, so now let's go back to the order script wizard, and so now we want to take uh, let's say we want to close our position. So we want to sell on the ask 100% of our position. So I'm going to do a control B and I'm going to say sell. Share is going to be position. So that's 100% of my position. The symbol is going to be, of course, based on whatever you're active. I want to do it on the ask. I'm going to set my route to NASDAQ, my day. I'm not going to set anything there. Mode, load and send, any, build my script. And so now I have a selling a position. And so that's how you set up the hotkeys. It's, again, I think once you start getting used to this order script wizard, you can kind of see the power, right? You can see the fact that you can do buying power times 0.5, or you can do, I mean, if you know a little bit about scripting, you got a lot of, um, you've got a lot of power in building these scripts. It's a very powerful technology. BP times point. Let's see. I want to say position times 0.5. Right. Ask route NASDAQ. There we go. Load and send. Any. Bam. Build script. So we're going to sell 50% at the ask. Control N. There we go. So again, I think that's a good representation of of setting up the hotkeys, and it definitely something that I would not be a very good trader, especially a scalper, on these small cap stocks without utilizing the hotkeys. And with Dash Trader, you have some of the most advanced flexibility as any platform out there. So that really kind of covers everything. This gets you set up to trade. Get your montage. You get your time and sells. You get access to your level 2. You can understand the, the key elements of or the basic elements for the chart setup. We went over the hotkeys. This is really really kind of the basics that get your setting up on Dash Trader Pro. Um, I definitely appreciate the time today. If you like this type of content, click subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, I'm definitely interested in hearing. Love to be able to, assist you if you're having some challenges or anything that you need as it pertains to Dash Trader Pro. I've been using it for a little while now. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Take care.